Hello everybody, Jake here from FM Scout, and in today's video we're going to be looking at some of the hottest prospects in world football according to Uefa. As they do every year, Uefa have released their list of 50 players who are their picks basically to go on and be the next world football superstars who are going to be the names that the next generation of football players know. And we thought it would be a good idea today to look at some of them players within Football Manager to see how these Wonderkids are in the game. And let me tell you guys, there are some really good picks that you wouldn't think of at all, ones that I didn't know myself. And when you see them, you're like, okay, I'm going to buy this guy straight away. And trust me, there are some great players in this list. Although, as you can probably tell, this video isn't going to cover all 50 players. If you want to see all 50 after the video, there is a link in the description to FM Scout's website where not only do we have all 50 players, we have a downloadable shortlist within the game, which will mean you guys won't even have to go and search up all these players on your own. They'll all be added to your shortlist and then you can scout them respectively. So I'll try not to waste too much of your time, but before we get into the video, if you would be so kind, feel free to hit that like button. It really helps us out in pushing these videos out to more people. Comment down below your favourite unknown Wonderkids in the list down below, all the players that you think will be like the big stars of the next 10 years other people might not think about. And if you are really enjoying the content on this channel and you haven't already, then consider hitting that subscribe button and that notification bell so you don't miss out any of our uploads. We have got plenty of stuff coming on this channel, as you've seen recently. We're uploading a lot of videos, some fun, some informative, but all of which I think you guys will enjoy and get some use out of. So let's get into the first player in this list. Now the first player we're looking at is Paulos Abraham of AEK, who are in the Swedish division. Now this left winger, right winger, striker, whatever you want him to be, looks like a very good prospect at the age of 18. The Swedish international still has some room to grow. Uefa has dubbed him as one of the stars of the future, and I think in Football Manager, while he doesn't look like the best Wonderkid ever, he does look like a very good player, one of which, probably based on his value, wouldn't cost too much money to buy. He's got some nice traits, he's got some decent physical stats that do need some improvement, but again, he's pretty good already for his age and I'm sure he will develop. His mental stats are looking okay too, but with a bit of mentoring, I'm sure he will be great. Obviously, he's got some nice flair for a winger and off the ball, which should help him be a good player in game. And then in terms of his technical stats, he's got some nice dribbling, first touch stats, the kind of things you often find on these young players. He's got okay finishing and free kick taking for his age as well, and I think he's a kind of guy, if you were a championship team, that kind of level, maybe he could feature for you, and in the future he definitely would, because he's still got some room to grow. You won't be able to sign him straight away because he has only just joined AEK for £87,000, and he's looked okay for them on his first few appearances for them so far. But yeah, a very good player, one that isn't really heard of that much, and one that if Uefa are tipped in for the future, maybe just keep your eye on him. You don't necessarily have to buy him straight away, but he could be a good player for you in your saves. Now the next player we're looking at, Jamal Musiala, looks like one of the best youngsters in world football in real life, coming up through the ranks at Bayern. Looked like he was basically joining Bayern to be, you know, like an under-23s player for a bit of time, which I suppose he has done, but he's also broken into the first team. I believe he's already scored as well. I could be wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure I've seen it. Interestingly, he has came from Chelsea's academy. Now I'm managing Chelsea here, but if you want to see me manage Chelsea properly, there'll be a link to my channel in the description. If any of you guys want to check it out and help us get to 800 subscribers over there, then that would mean a lot. We've got a great Chelsea save going on over there so far, and a lot of the guys over there are enjoying it. So if you want to check that out, feel free. But he was actually someone I was looking at buying in the game, you know, to like bring him back to Chelsea. And well, you can see why. Look at him here. He is such a great player. He's an attacking midfielder, winger or striker, mainly attacking midfielder. I think that's where he's been playing for Bayern in real life when he has appeared for them. And whilst it says he has no youth caps, I do believe he is representing England at a youth level now. And he has looked very good for both club and country. And in game, he is also absolutely amazing for a 17-year-old too. He's got some nice physical stats where he's not particularly lacking in any certain area. And again, he is only 17, so by the time he hits 19-20, some of these will be 15 pluses, he'll have a bit more strength, you get the idea. He's going to be a very good player, and his mental stats will help him with that too, because his mental stats are also really good, nothing he's particularly lacking in, maybe positioning and leadership, but again, you can see he's 17, he's not going to be the best leader in the world already. He will develop over time, and with some good mentoring, he can have some really nice mental stats, but it's his technicals in particular that look very good for a 17-year-old. With 15 technique, 13 passing, 13 finishing, and 14 dribbling, he is going to be a very effective central attacking midfielder. Really good. Someone I'm excited about both in-game and real life. No wonder Uefa have picked him, and I think Football Manager have got that right too. He does look like a great player, so let's see how he gets on. Now we're heading over to Denmark, and this is a player that I hadn't heard about at all, and that is the Danish striker Wahid Fakir, playing for, I'm not going to try and pronounce it, we're going to call him Bold Club in Denmark. They look like a nice team, but I don't think they're one of the better teams in Denmark based on the fact that some of the bigger teams are already snooping around at this 16-year-old player. When I saw him on this UEFA list, I thought I'd add him to this video because I didn't know who he was, so I wanted to check him out in game. And to be honest, while he doesn't look like the most amazing player you're ever going to see, for a 16-year-old he does not look bad at all. And with a bit of mentoring and like getting his determination up and stuff, I think his attributes will grow quite well, and I think he could definitely be a good striker in the future. If you give him, say, 5 years worth of growth when he's 21, he's going to have 15 plus finishing, probably 15 plus first touch, good technique, he's going to have some nice physical stats, his mental stats will hopefully go up with some mentoring too. And he definitely does look like a player for the future. I don't think he's on the same levels as some of the others that we've seen, but not everyone's playing for Bayern Munich and teams like that. We can't all afford these players. But this guy looks really good, and notably as well, he is coming from, I assume this is the second division of Denmark. When he was there, he's played 10 appearances and scored 3 goals, and he would have been, what, 15 then? So yeah, this guy does look very, very good, and it makes me feel old when it says that he's born in 2003. I thought I was on the younger side, but I guess not. This guy, Wahid, does look like a good player, maybe not the best in the world, but keep your eye on him, add him to your shortlist, and see what happens to him. And I will reiterate again, if you want to add all 50 players to your shortlist, there is a link in the description that will take you to the FM Scout website where you can just download the shortlist in, and that way you'll be able to see all the players that you've got loaded into your game and see how they're getting on. And the next player we're looking at is one of the brightest talents in Italian football, and that is Daniele Maldini of AC Milan. Now, if his last name seems familiar to you, it's probably, if you didn't already know, it's because his dad is the legend Maldini, the centre-back who is probably one of the greatest defenders of all time and is regarded by many people as that. And whilst his son doesn't have the same defending talents that he does, he's a very, very good winger, and one that I was surprised to see. When I saw him on the UEFA list, I thought, I think I've heard of him, I just don't really know if he's any good. And then I checked him out in game, and he's actually really good. I mean, considering you can get him on loan straight away, I don't know what kind of teams AC Milan would let him go to. If he was in the Championship, let's say, I think he'd do really good. Even like lower Premier League teams, he looks like a really good winger. He's got some nice physical stats that again will go up. He is only 18, that's going to be the case for most people on this list. Some good mental stats too, with some nice flair, vision, determination, all of which will help him out in that winger role. But I was particularly surprised by his technicals with 15 technique, 13 passing, 13 first touch, 11 finishing, 13 dribbling, 14 corners, 15 free kicks. He will probably hold set pieces down for you for a while with that free kick and corner stat. And he does look like a very good player. Now, he has got a long-term contract at AC Milan and he's been there for a long time. Whether he'll want to leave, I don't know. But like I say, you can get him on loan. You can always add him to your shortlist, see how he does. But he does look like a very good player. I don't think he'll reach the heights that his dad did, but I wouldn't be surprised if in a few years you find out that this guy is playing for the Italian national team. It wouldn't surprise me at all. AC Milan seem like a club on the up at the minute. They're playing better than they have done for a few years. And yeah, maybe Daniele Maldini will feature in that in the coming years and become a staple part of Italian football just like his dad did. Now we're looking at a centre-back in our list, and that is Roman Yevgenjev. Roman Yevgenjev. I'm not going to try. And he's a central defender, we're going to call him Roman, from Dynamo Moscow in the Russian league. At the age of 21, he's a bit further in his development than some of the others, although he does look like a very good central defender. He's had 8 youth caps for the under-21s team in Russia. And I would say, looking at his stats straight away here, I would say, okay, this is a championship level defender. I know I've said championship level quite a lot, but he's got 15s for a lot of his defending stats, even 14s. You know what, this guy could probably play in the Premier League. I mean, his physicals might need a bit of work, but he's got some good natural fitness indicated by blue. I have blue set to be the higher stats in the game, so if you see blue, that's what that means. I just changed the settings in the preferences bit, I believe. He's very tall at 193 centimetres. I wish that was in feet. I need to get that changed. He gets forward whenever possible, shoots with power, and brings the ball out of the defence. So if we could get his passing up a little bit, I think he'd be a very good ball-playing defender. But yeah, as we were saying, his physicals are pretty nice. His mental stats are really good too, with some high determination. That might change in your saves, I don't know, but he does have high determination here. But everything else is already at a very good level, and any increases to those attributes will be very good. But it was his defensive attributes that really surprised me, with 14 heading, 15 marking, and 15 tackling, and then some nice mental defensive stats too. He does look like a very good defender. He's listed here as his best role of being a no-nonsense centre-back. I'd say with a bit of development he could definitely be a central or ball-playing defender, and seeing as though his report says he's 2 stars in either, he could probably do with them all, to be honest. I don't think he's really defined in any certain way, but I still think this is a very, very good player, and I don't know how much he would cost you. When I checked here, it said they require a high fee to sell. Maybe he's available for a loan, I don't know. He's classed as a squad player in Dynamo Moscow's team, and I imagine he'll be a huge part of Russian football for the coming years, and there's no surprise, why UEFA put him in this list, because he looks like a very good centre-back, and again, it's one that I hadn't heard of. I don't usually have the Russian leagues loaded, so I don't really see him doing that well. But here we go, he does look like a very good player straight from the bat here, so I'm sure in a few years, at the age of 24, 25, he will be a really good centre-back. And speaking of centre-backs, it's probably one of the most well-known players on this list now, and that is Wesley Fofana of Leicester. Now, he is French, he's 19 years old, he's a very good centre-back straight away, and he's been playing consistently for Leicester in the Premier League this season, looking very good. Obviously, they have just signed him, you're not going to be able to get him straight away, but he does look like a very good centre-back. Maybe you can get him on loan, I don't really know. I would assume not, to be honest, because he is quite key in Leicester's team, but at a young age, maybe they would want to loan him out. Now, this is why I feel like Roman was a very good centre-back, because technically Roman was better at centre-back, and mentally he was better too. Now, he doesn't have the physical stats that Fofana does, and Fofana is 2 years younger, but considering Roman was classed as a £750,000 player, and Fofana is a £21 million player, I don't see that many differences. Now, Fofana is a bit smaller, but still a very tall centre-back with some good jumping reach, quick for a centre-back too, and strong. You wouldn't really want any improvements on his physical, but he's going to get some, so he's going to be an even better player than he already is, and he's already a very good player. Now, mentally, he could probably do with a bit of work. He's still got very good mental stats that you wouldn't really be too bothered about, so I'm sure he'll be good to go once he gets a bit of mentoring, and like I said, technically he is pretty good already. 14s, 15s, 13s, for a centre-back at his age, is really good, to be honest, and the fact that he's already getting Premier League football in real life doesn't surprise me. He looks like a really good player, no wonder UEFA are looking at him, but Wesley Fofana does look like a very good player, and one for the future to keep an eye on. 4 players left on the list now, and the next player we're looking at is the one on the list I thought was probably the worst out of the ones we've looked at. Not to say he's a bad player at all, I still think he looks very, very good, but he's just not as good as the others. Maybe you guys will disagree, but it's the Swedish 20-year-old international with 3 under-21 caps, Jens Kajust. I don't know how you meant to pronounce that, we'll call him Jens for now. He plays for FC Midtjylland in Denmark, and he looks like a really nice central midfielder, to be honest. He can play a variety of roles, but particularly central midfield is the one he is used to. I like that he's either footed and dictates tempo. I thought that was something that really attracted me to the player. Plus, not attracted in that way, don't get weird guys, you know what I mean. And he's got some nice height too there. Physicals, he could probably use a bit of work, to be honest, for a central midfielder who's probably going to get knocked around quite a lot. He could use a bit more strength, a bit more natural fitness, for example. But again, it's not the worst, and at 20 he's got a little bit of room to grow still. Mentally, I think he is pretty good here, especially with like 15 flair in the midfield, 13 off the ball, 15 teamwork, work rate, vision. That's all going to help him, and composure too. Considering he's going to be dictating the tempo, you do want him to be composed, not get flustered under pressure, and I think he does look like a very good player for that. Technically, again, he's someone that could do with a little bit of work. It's surprising to me that you can have 15 flair and only 10 dribbling, but maybe he just does like flare passes or something. I think he will need a bit of work. He's not going to be the answer to, you know, Chelsea's central midfield or anything like that. But for a championship team, let's say, or if you're not in the top 5 leagues, this guy could probably do a job in your team, whether it's first team or as like a backup player, I don't know. But he does look like a good player, and the fact that he's a regular starter for Midtjylland, they are playing consistent European football as far as I'm aware. I've seen them against the likes of Manchester United, for example. So yeah, this guy does look like a very good player, and even though he doesn't have the best technical stats, with a little bit of work, I think he could be a really fun player to watch with flair, either footedness, dictating the tempo. He could be someone really important for your team with the right development. So again, like I say, add this guy to your shortlist or download the full shortlist from FM Scout, and you'll never miss a chance if one of these guys does become available to be a part of your first team, and you can have one of the stars of the future playing for your squad. And now following on from that, we have Isaac Bergman Johansson. The Icelandic 17-year-old plays for IFK Norrköping in the Swedish leagues. Again, probably pronounced that wrong. I do apologise to you guys if you are big fans of these teams and I'm butchering the names. I'm not Swedish, I'm not the best at this, but the player that we're looking at, Isaac, is a pretty nice player. He's left-footed only, so that's why he is kind of being linked to this left-hand side. We don't know if he's going to be a central midfielder or a left winger yet. That's for you guys to judge. But I think he has some nice attributes for both, to be honest. He's got decent physicals, nothing to write home about, and he could do with a bit of work. But again, is 17, he has got some time. He tries first-time shots, dictates tempo, and gets into the opposition area. So they are some nice traits for him to have already. Mentally, I don't know whether I've got a look of the draw here, but he's got good determination. Other than that though, just in case it isn't the same in your saves, because sometimes these things do fluctuate, he has some nice mental stats again. Some mentoring would probably do him a good job, as it would with pretty much any young player. So it's always good to have an old player around in your squad, even if it's just for mentoring sakes. But yeah, he does look really nice mentally. Technically, again, needs a bit of work, but you know, he's a 17-year-old player. By the time he's 21, some of these attributes will have gone up 3 or 4, and you'll be looking at a really good central midfielder there. He's only a squad player for this team in Sweden, which probably suggests that Oh, these have actually won the league before, okay. So it seems like he's playing for one of the better clubs in Sweden and is only a squad player for them, but the fact that he's only a squad player for one of the better clubs in Sweden at the age of 17 says a lot. He's already getting some first team appearances for them, so I actually think he's doing pretty well for himself already. He has only just signed a new contract with his club, so you won't be able to get him straight away, but the idea of this video isn't just to suggest people that you can buy straight away, it's just people to keep an eye on. Interesting to see because, you know, these have been noted down as UEFA as some of the stars of the future. So who knows, maybe in a few years Isaac Bergman Johansson will be a name that everyone chants at the football grounds of Manchester United or something. You can never tell with these things, but he does look like a very good player. Again, not the most defined on this list if you compare him to the likes of Jamal Musiala at his age. Jamal looks a much better player, and that's probably why he's at Bayern Munich already. But as I've mentioned, not everyone is Bayern Munich, so someone like Isaac here could be a good player for your squad. So keep an eye on him, and who knows what he can do in the future. We're into the final 2 players on this list now, guys, so if you are enjoying the video, don't forget to hit that like button and consider subscribing. Now, the next player we're looking at is David Carmo of Braga. The 21-year-old Portuguese centre-back is a squad player for Braga, and this guy really does have the potential to be one of the best centre-backs in the world in Football Manager if you use him right. Now, looking at him, he's left-footed, which is obviously ideal. You don't get that as commonly as you do get right-footed centre-backs, so that's brilliant already. Then you look at his physical stats and see that, yeah, he's got decent pace and fitness, but he's also nearly 200 centimetres tall with 17 strength and 17 jumping reach. This guy is a threat. He is going to be a set-piece threat and a defensive boost to you guys when you have crosses coming into the box, when you're against corners. He's really going to help you out there. He's really brave too, determined, composed, concentrated. He is 21, so again, less room to grow than some of the others. But looking at him, he does look like a really good player, both mentally and physically. Now, his acceleration isn't the highest, but what do you expect when you've got a 17 strength draft at the back when he's nearly 200 centimetres tall? This guy is tall. He's not going to be, you know, Lightning McQueen running around the pitch. But again, he is still a very good player. And then you get onto his technical stats, and technically he's pretty good too. He can pass really well, which makes him an ideal ball-playing defender, as we can see here. Again, by the age of 23, 24, if this has gone up to, say, 16 passing, you're looking at an amazing ball-playing defender, actually. Good technique. His tackling might need a bit of work, but that's probably the only thing because he's got a decent first touch for a centre-back, good at heading, and considering he's going to be jumping a lot, that's going to help you get some goals. And he can mark too. He just looks like a really good centre-back, and one that, again, is just one that I never really heard of before. I don't really know how I did. You always know about the Wonderkids, your Mbappes, your Gravenbergs, all them lot, but I never think about these people, and it gives you food for thought if you aren't managing the big teams. Maybe you can pick this guy up. The final player on this list that we're looking at is Tyler Adams of Leipzig. This is Wonderkids Central. They've brought him in from fellow Red Bull team New York for 2.4 million a few years ago. He's now a regular starter for this Leipzig team and for the American national team too. Now, looking at his physical stats, he's got good natural fitness, is fairly quick. Again, that'll probably go up in a few years, but if that's all that he stays at, 14 acceleration, 12 pace isn't the worst in the world. With good stamina and decent strength too. Then mentally, he's aggressive, he reads the game well, he's brave, he makes good decisions. He's also got a nice bit of leadership in there too, as well as off-the-ball work rate, basically everything you'd want for the midfield roles that it's suggesting, which are the likes of box-to-box, Mazzala's, ball-winning midfielders, the ones that have got to really put in the shift in the midfield that allow the likes of your advanced playmakers to shine. Technically, he's good too, but he could do with a bit of work. Other than Mbappe, I think every young player you could say that about. His finishing and long shots aren't the best, but again, he's not there to score, he's not there to create as much, he's more just like the hard-working engine in your midfield. And I think Leipzig have got a very good player on their hands there, and that's why it will cost you quite a lot of money if you want to prize him off of Leipzig. But you can tell this guy is just one of them engine players. The American international has definitely got a bright future ahead of him, as has that whole American national team. Just looking at it, actually, they've got the likes of Yunus Musa, who is a wonder kid in the game, who is very good. Reina, Dest, Weah, Sargent, Adams, Pulisic, McKinney. These lot in particular look like the future of United States football, and I think they are going to have a very good team in the coming years. Anthony Robinson of Fulham too has looked really good in the Premier League so far, and they've just got a really, really nice squad growing in the US there. But yeah, a bit off track there, but you get the idea. We are looking at some of the best young players in the game. Tyler Adams is one of them, one of the ones that UEFA have said to keep an eye on for the future. And I think they're on the right lines here because no matter what, this guy's already had a successful career and will probably have a good career at the highest levels in European football. So that is Tyler Adams, that is the last player in this list, and hopefully you guys have enjoyed today's video. Remember, if you did enjoy it, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, whatever you want to do. Even just your view all helps go a long way in supporting this channel. Now again, if you do want to check out the link in the description to my channel, feel free, and there will be a link to the full shortlist which you can download, or if you just want to check out all the 50 players on this list for yourself, you can find them both in the description. I hope you have a great day. I hope you are having a good start to 2021. Hopefully it's a lot better than the last year. So thank you for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.